Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today's video is a big heading, a big title. It's a big one out there. Crypto Bitcoin market crash 2021. What do I think? What do I think is coming up? What am I doing about it? Do you really care? Someone on YouTube. That's what we're looking at today. The main things I want to focus around is identifying the difference between a position that we're holding long-term investing and a position that we are trading in. The main reason being is the noobs in the comments talk about making your mind up, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. So I need to differentiate the two because we have different bags, or at least I have different bags. I've got a long-term position and a trading position, which is why I'm going back to the crypto Bitcoin market crash and trying to make the most of our position. So are we going to see a crypto crash in 2021? I think we will. The dates that I've been looking for is around early May. I think that's when the stock markets are coming up to some sort of peak, if we haven't already seen the peak. But there's generally this feeling of around March and May. The old saying of sell in May and go away. You sell in summer and they go away for summer vacation. Anyway, we're going to look at that in a little more detail on the charts as well. I'm going to review probably at least 20 cryptocurrencies on our watch list, quick fire, strong and weak against their Bitcoin chart and their USD chart. So the altcoins against Bitcoin and USD, because they are the most important. So if you've loved that, it sounds like it's of an interest to you, consider hitting the subscribe button if you haven't already. There's still several of you that haven't hit the subscribe button. It's getting better. Let's go to 100,000 subscribers and the bell notification icon so you can see this content as it comes out. There's a lot of time sensitive stuff in news and charts. So that goes a long way to helping out the channel as well. And hit that like button. Let's get it to 3,000. If you guys get it to 10,000, we'll do something. All right. Any average Joe, I want to start with this because this is super important. People are just buying and holding and that's it. Any average Joe can get into the market. Only professionals know when to leave. Now, am I a professional? I don't know. I mean, I'm doing this full time. The main thing here is that you need to know when to get out of the market as well. It's basically gambling. If you just have a position of buy and hold and hope, you just come in, you go into the poker tables, they take your money quicker than the market's going to take it, and you just believe that you're going to get more gains at some point in the future. Sometimes this works out, sometimes it doesn't. So just keep that in mind if you ever have a position. Any average Joe can get into the market because you're basically buying in on hope. You won't buy in the dips when the market's bad, but you'll buy on the peaks because you think it's going to go further. But only the professionals know when to leave, and that's basically getting out with a profit. Anything to profit. Whatever works out in your numbers that makes sense against your risk and reward. All right, so this does not mean that you need to sell the top. It just means that you need to understand your risk and reward and your money management. All right, it does mean that it may be time to sell some altcoin positions. Personally, these are the ones that I'm looking at in today's video, along with many others that I'm going to cover. But looking at the charts before I put this video together, these look like the weakest, and unfortunately they are recent ones that I really liked. XTZ mainly. Uni is something that we're in at between $4 and $8, but there was just a recent breakout as well above the $25 or $6 level from memory. But it's not looking as strong anymore. YFII as well, and Injective. We're going to have a look at these. The buying may be CRO. I haven't seen many that are in a really good, strong position to be putting my money in on now. So that's what I want to share with you guys today. Maybe that's a big reason. That is a huge reason, actually, why I wanted to put this together, because as I go through the charts, nothing is really jumping out at me, and everything is looking tired and overextended. So like I said, I put together a trading journal, and this video is one of those trading journals. I suggest you guys do the same if you want to improve on what you're doing. If you want to get those comments in the comment section from typical comments like you're just producing FUD or noobs not understanding how to analyze potential outcomes and be prepared. So give yourselves a trading journal, written, video, whatever. So these are the typical comments I get. FUD and this here. So I just have to skip over them and you move on, because at the end of the day, you're here to make money for your own bank account and not impress someone else in the comments. All right. No, this is not the top. So even if I think there is a crash, I don't believe this is the current top, which is why I have two massive bags, 2 big bags of cryptocurrency. One is a buy and hold, which you can see on my Instagram, which is the retirement fund portfolio. So I update that daily. It's taking your screenshots and showing you over there. Link to my Instagram is in the description. None of that nonsense in the comment section. We are potentially at an intermediate top within the major cycle. So we'll discuss some dates soon. Make your mind up. That's a common one that I get in the comments. You need to understand the difference, distinguish the difference between trading and investing, which I've talked about already. So whenever you see that comment, make your mind up. I think it's generally because maybe I haven't explained which position this is for me, if it's a trade or an investment. I want to make that very clear. My main positions, as we see here, Bitcoin, Ethereum. That's the longer ones. I'll look to enter extra fiat into these positions when I see there's a good position to do so, but I'll be entering less and less and less as the market increases. So that pretty much means that we need to be buying at the bear market. Well, that's my strategy. I'll look for exits later when we get to a bubbly situation again. Trading, basically trading everything else. Always looking for entries and exits, like you've seen with my Cardano videos. Some days I think it's good to be buying, some days I don't. Sometimes the signal doesn't work out, time to leave. That's as quick as you need to be. If you want to be trading and you don't want to be one of these noob holders calling out FUD and just doing rocket ship emojis. Be prepared for 30 to 50% drops and still be in a position. These have wild swings, so you can still be in a position holding I was going to say shitcoin, an altcoin, and they drop by 30-40%, but they have the potential to go 5x, 10x, 20x, like we were talking about in the video yesterday around on the 1 to 100x. So the 30 to 50% drops are just part and parcel of the game of getting in for those 5, 10, 20x runs. It's the exception for some people in terms of a investment portfolio, just a hodl, could be Cardano. Some people think that that is something that they want to hold and they don't want to trade. Fair enough. There's probably other cryptos as well. I'm not going to get into all of them. Variables, timeframes. So with some of these cryptos, some of these altcoins, I'll have different timeframes that I'm prepared to hold them on. For example, DOT, I like it as a long-term swing trade, whereas Reef, I don't trust as much, and I just see it as a short-term swing trade. And I don't even think Reef is working out at the moment like I was hoping, and I'm happy to admit that because that's just part of the game. You're not going to get them all 100% right. There's no trader that's going to get them all 100% right, and you just have to do what works for you with your own strategies. All right, my positions will change frequently as a trader, however, infrequently as an investor. So we've already talked about that. Have I covered all the bases going through all of the disclaimers up here? Probably not. There's probably still going to be some people talking about taxes or something else like that in the comments. What about, these are the things that come up, world economics, the DXY, the Dixie, the US dollar, what's that doing in the market and how that affects the crypto, the stimulus packages, how that affects crypto, the super cycle, what does that mean, how does that affect crypto? Are you taking all of these things into consideration? This is what I'm also getting at when it comes to, have I covered all the bases? What about what XYZ person said? What about the ABC indicator on Twitter, the RSI, the MACD, the OBV? Honestly, I consider all of these things in my trading, but I place the emphasis on my swing trading and what I see on the chart, because at the end of the day, this is all noise to me. It does have meaning. I don't want to drop it too far down the list of meaning and not meaning, but I put a lot of emphasis on the chart as opposed to this stuff, because this is just talk. How do you basically bring this into a chart and understand where the price should be? You let me know. But at the end of the day, most of this is easily found in the chart. We can see RSI, MACD, OBV in the chart, but I think there are more accurate and more efficient ways to read a chart. With that said, RSI might be efficient and accurate for you. I just prefer to use swings, support and resistance, and fibs. All right, main premise to reviewing the markets to determine a crash is charts. That's what I've just gone through there. Dates to keep in mind. So this might be a new thing for some people. It's not a YouTuber or a Twitter date where someone says September Bitcoin is going to top at this price. I don't believe those at all. just seasonal dates, which have been around since the start of time, time frames, which are what the market is giving us. So I'll talk about that in a sec, and anniversaries. These apply to all markets: future stocks, bonds, commodities, forex, crypto. They apply to everything because they are universal. Seasonal dates, understanding time frames are universal. So once you learn these features, then it's so much easier to apply it across all markets. And it's not just a, what did 𝗙𝗏𝗡𝗡 say on YouTube, then that's going to apply to one market. So that's the beauty about this, is that you're learning how to fish and not being thrown a fish. With that said, I've got the Investor Accelerator course down below. It's a membership course. There's a link to that. Price is increasing. The discount still applies. So if you want to be a part of that in the group and learn how to do all of the stuff that I'm presenting over here, join the group now and join nearly 200 people over there looking into how to trade for their own investment portfolios and increasing those. So lastly is keep charts clean. Simplicity is key. I don't have a ton of crap all over my charts. I just like it nice and clean. I've had a few people say your charts suck. I'm like, mate, if you can keep these things clean, it makes life a hell of a lot easier than having MACDs and lines and all this sort of crap drawn all over them. It's just so much easier. That's all you really need, is simplicity. So let's have a look at the dates. And I'll mention these briefly because this is a whole nother video on its own. Seasonal dates are basically equinoxes, solstices, the 21st around that time, give or take a few days, March, June, September, and December. Early May, early February, there are these other time frames which are 50% of those cycles. So they're basically 90 days apart. So if you take those and you've got 45 days apart, we know that there tends to be some sort of movement in those periods. Time frames for Bitcoin, and this can apply to any market as well: top to top, top to bottom, bottom to top, bottom to bottom, ranges. I did this in a video at the beginning of January around Bitcoin's birthday, which you can see here. I've got here anniversaries. Look back at that video, Bitcoin's birthday, like we saw in January. There was a lot of dates and a lot of time pressure coming together at that point, which produced a intermediate peak in the market. It's not going to happen every time, but when you know about these things, then it doesn't come as a surprise if we get a turn at the middle to end of March, like we saw at the COVID crash last year. So I think we're noticing that maybe leading up in the next week or two, there might be some sort of turn, or if it's not a turn, it's just a very strong time in the market. It's been noticed in markets all over the globe for centuries. All right, these line up with other indicators not seen on this channel. It's all mathematics that come to a rough estimate, which may have a higher probability of occurring. That's all we're doing, is just the probabilities. It's just these things happen often. Maybe we'll see it again. All right, last thing is, let's get into review these charts. I'll go through these in particular, and I'll probably cover a few more. So let's dive into the charts. Because I've got so many to get through, I want to do a quick cover, basically quick fire across a lot of these. So what we're looking at here is Bitcoin, and obviously the title of the video is around crypto, Bitcoin market crash 2021. Essentially, if you want the too long didn't read part of it, what I'm seeing is the Bitcoin moving up, volumes are dropping. Maybe we're going to get a push to $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. Then I think we're going to get some sort of long period of reaccumulation. But so far, everything is going good. It's moving up. We've had a little bit of a pullback, but I think we need a longer pullback to continue pushing up past 100, 200,000 to that area, between that 200K. And across the rest of the altcoins, their Bitcoin values are bleeding, obviously because Bitcoin is going up, or has been going up over the last 5 or so days, and they're not reaching their previous tops. So when you get a lower swing top, as we'll see, that is usually a weak sign. So I'm seeing that across a lot of cryptos, and I'll jump across to one of those just after the Bitcoin chart so that you can see what I'm talking about. Bitcoin top, we're coming up to the next top. You can just see that the volume continues to lower. We had a nice bounce off the 50% and a nice swing into this last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days up, currently in the 6th day, and we're just seeing whether we're going to get to this all-time high again. Obviously, for the altcoin market to continue with an alt season, we want to see Bitcoin hang around in this space for a fair bit longer, just chill out and allow some of those gains to push over into the altcoins. But currently, it just seems like everything is just pouring back into Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's still strong, still the trend is up. We can't go against the trend, even though there are signs to say that maybe we're starting to run out of strength again, which is what we saw last time. We were just crawling and crawling up, and you can see the volume continue to drop. Finally, we just get this huge reaction and scares the whole market. So let's now take a look at another crypto which will show that lower swing top. Band protocol, I've got band on Tether, so band versus USD. You can see that we got a top here on 13th of February. Then the market came back to retest that top, and that's a lower swing top there. Just failed to reach the high, and subsequently we had a nice big dump in the later part of February. Looks like we're trying to crawl back again, but it's not looking super strong. And then if I look at the Bitcoin band Bitcoin chart, we've just broken down. We're beginning to break down through these lows, so that's not a good thing. Band is one of those cryptos that I was liking the look of as it began to climb. We were getting big volume on the push, and we were just getting the lows getting higher and higher. You don't need to worry about these spikes down because it's obviously liquidity problems. But as we continued up, still strong volume pushing up, the lows just started to roll over, and that looks like we've finally seen that the straw that's broken the camel's back on band. I mean, I'm not happy about that, but we could just continue in this accumulation zone for a while longer. Not such a bad thing. We had a bit of volume through here, so the main areas I'm watching for is that we don't break down past these lows. The main thing I want to do with band is just show that pattern and how those lower swing tops form. And you don't know this is coming next because all you see on the chart is something like that. And so you think this is going to go through the top again. Actually, most people don't know. They're not even sure what the chart looks like. They just see the price crawl up again, but it's a very much weaker climb than the first climb, and that tends to dump the market. So with that, let's have a look at Cardano and the dollar. And that's what we were seeing. Cardano move up, and then it had a little weaker top and it fell away, but it's still holding up okay at the moment. You can see we've got the alerts. Cardano, it's just sitting in a sideways pattern at the moment, but this is starting to extend out a little further than I would normally like to see if we were going to keep pushing up. We talked about Cardano enough, so I won't go into that too much more. Cardano ETH, still on the decline. Cardano BTC, on the decline. It broke down yet again yesterday. Cardano versus DOT broke down. Cardano and Binance also another day down. Yesterday was inside, day before was down. So it's looking weak across the board except for the US dollar, and that's obviously because Bitcoin is moving up. Also on our list is Ethereum. So we're going to go across to Ethereum, 1800. This is the lower swing top, which I'm a little concerned about. It's not confirmed yet, but you can now start to see we've had this move up. Everyone's excited. Ethereum's going nuts. I think that was a great move out of this high here. We had a swing and a push through, looking good, but can we continue up and continue to push and increase the volume? We want to see this volume get really strong as we break through the high, not some sort of weak attempt to push itself over the finish line. We've got to keep going. The finish line is nowhere near in sight. So we really want to see this thing push hard. ETH versus BTC, looking a little sad after the last few days of a solid move out of this low. Not over yet. Got the alert set to understand whether we're going to hold this level here. Overall, this was an inverted head and shoulders pattern, and it just has not held. So this needs to hold here in order for me to think that we're still in a strong position against Bitcoin, Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So this is another reason which lays into the whole crypto Bitcoin. Is there a market crash coming? Is there one in 2021? I think you would probably say yes, but when is it? These are the signs that I'm looking for, and personally, I'm looking to take some of, like I said in the intro, I'm looking to take some of the gains off in those altcoins for these reasons, that I just see it becoming weaker and the reward getting less with a higher risk. So that's pretty much the reason why I want to take some off. Not that I think the projects are bad, it's just maybe it's time. USD, this is probably one of the exceptions. If we continue to climb and push through these highs with increased volume and shorter pullbacks, a few days, this is probably one of the exceptions out of this whole market crash scenario. USD looks good. Ethereum, not as good. It has broken the lows, so that's not a good sign. But BTC, still holding its ground, not as strong as some of the others. We saw a big day up yesterday, well, slight day up, but the volume was higher and it just has not held. So the USD might be holding because of Bitcoin going up. So that might be one of the exceptions, but looking at .eth.BTC as well, not as good. The other ones we're going to look at are Engine. Engine has pumped. We only got 1 day reversals now, whereas before we were seeing a couple of days. Now we got basically 1.5 days. We got an up day, a down day. We've started to move up again. I don't know how much longer this is going to go on for, but to me, the risk has outweighed the reward of what I could achieve here, especially looking back at when we talked about Engine at around 20 cents and then also again at around 30 or 40 cents. It's just sort of gone beyond that point now. I think the gains have been extracted. Time to move on. Engine BTC, it is holding some ground above these old highs. Still a long way to go before the previous all-time highs in March of 2019. So think about that. There's another anniversary right there. So look at that. Middle of March, 2 years on, there was a spike top. Keep that in mind. 2018, March had a pretty significant low that reversed the market. So they're just significant turning points. Now this video is going to be pretty long, so I'm going to quickly smash through some of these. We've done Bitcoin, Ethereum, ADA, DOT. We've done Engine. Let's have a look at XTZ, XRP, XLM. XTZ USD still looks okay, but these, you can just see these lower swing tops are just really starting to weigh the market down. It couldn't break this previous top. This top could not break that one. And so it's just starting to weigh heavy on XTZ. Looking at the BTC, it is not looking good at all. This was the entry point up here at around 9,000, currently sitting at around 7,000 Satoshis. This was the risk area, and that is the profit target that I was looking at way up here. We started climbing and it's just failed. So this could just continue to sit in an accumulation zone. If I break down, or if the market breaks down from here, then I think it's probably a good time to get out. You can just hear my daughter in the background there. XTZ, Ethereum, yeah, big volume pushing down. Maybe it's got more accumulation to do in this area. So the areas I'm looking for are this low around here, and so that is the accumulation area that I want to hold. Well, I want to see the market hold, and so I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. Once we see a breakout and a retest, that's probably the sign to get in from there. XLM is something we haven't covered in a very long time, but again, breaking down, potentially breaking down. XLM ETH, breaking down. XLM BTC, broken down. This is not a good sign across the board. XRP USD, again, didn't make the top. It's still, we still have a chance to come up here, but I don't think it's going to do it. I think it's probably going to head down. If you don't believe what you're seeing, what I like to do is go invert the scale. And do I think this is going to, does this chart look like it wants to go up? I think it does look like it want to go up, which means when I put it back to the right way around, it means it's going down. So all of those don't look good. XTZ, XRP, XLM. Not to say that they can't have one final push. We see Bitcoin go up. These things take a big push to the upside. The reward will probably, I'm not saying it won't be, but it probably won't be there. So it's not a definite, but seeing from where they've come from, it doesn't make sense to me to be risking it with fresh money at this point. Maybe if I had some profits, if another position there, if I've got some profits there and I want to risk it, great. Maybe something on like DOT or CRO, which was the other one I wanted to have a look at. CRO has just had that big pump that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. That was an easy FOMO in one. Didn't go the way I was hoping it would go, but we've continued to hold up. After this point, if we get a little breakdown, we're only looking at about 20% to these old highs back here. So I'm not really overly concerned. If we happen to move back into this accumulation zone, no worries either way. I still think CRO is a good project long term. And against the US dollar value, looking a little weak. It's not getting this really big push up that I would like. So maybe we do happen to fall back into this 10 to 15 cent range and reaccumulate before we get another big push out of CRO. So some time there for some cryptos to accumulate before we get another big push out of them. Looking further ahead, Curve, never talked about before, but I just want to have a look quickly at these charts. It basically is on a decline. Curve DAO declining as well. Didn't make the old previous highs. DIA These are all small projects, and sure, you could say they don't have any relevance across the board, but it's just something I'm seeing on crypto after crypto after crypto. They're just continuing to fail, break down against their Bitcoin values. Their USD values are falling short of their highs. Doge, you guys all know Doge. Tops, more tops, getting lower, lower. This was a spike past this one, only just, but that's a Bittrex, so it doesn't even matter. The Binance is what we want to see. Couldn't make the old top. We've just seen that in the last few days. Breaking down, I think once we see it take out the 90 area, then I would say that this is probably heading straight back down to the 40 or 50 area before some sort of bounce, maybe bounce at 60. So Doge is even looking weak. We want to see this get above 7 cents. Look at top, lower top, lower top. It's just failing time and time again. Sell BTC, lower top, lower top, lower top, just keeps falling. What else did I have on my chart? I had graph, lower top, lower top, lower top. This is on the US dollar. Graph versus BTC, lower top, lower top. How am I picking these is probably a question for you guys. I'm looking at swings here and then significant spikes out of these swings as well, and they're just not holding. IOTA is another one, lower top, potentially lower top. So you can see we had a big push up, then a reaction. So that's how we can also identify the differences between peaks and troughs. We want to see the reaction in between those. If we get a reaction back here, then this is a definite lower top. IOTA ETH spiked out of it, but it just has not carried through. IOTA BTC, double top, and it's fallen away. Carver, one that I haven't talked about on the channel yet, but I also like as an accumulation project. This is in a sideways range. So again, it's lower tops, but it's in its accumulation zone against Bitcoin. Carver USD, top and top, but it's holding. It's holding above its 50% of the fib. So not looking too bad considering what everything else is doing. Link, lower top, lower top. I feel like I'm just throwing a whole lot of bad news here, but I want to be ready with some money set aside for when we get the turning signal that we're going to bottom and go back the other way. Link, Ethereum, not looking too bad. Ascending triangle here. So it could be an okay pattern. We want to make sure that these lows hold. Link BTC. Probably don't want to see it go back into this accumulation range if we're going to see it push up sooner. But if it does go back into this accumulation range between 35,000 and 52,000, then we want to see it hold on that range. Otherwise, it could spell disaster and continue to bleed out against Bitcoin value, but still go up in its USD value. Litecoin, a big one that we've followed on the channel, very disappointing. I could blow Hopium up everyone's ass and just say, hold in there, I'm still buying more Litecoin, still buying more Litecoin, but it keeps failing against Bitcoin. Litecoin Ethereum, still failing. Litecoin USD, it's going up. Why? Because Bitcoin's going up, so you're better off buying Bitcoin for less risk. Higher top, and this maybe we're waiting to see if we get a lower top in here. Lower tops are bearish signals. They're just running out of steam, and the market telling us it's running out of steam. I've gone through many coins here. If I've missed some, we may cover it in future videos. Reef, potentially lower top, but we've got to wait and see because I like this swing out of the low. And Reef BTC, this is probably the one that I don't like the most of, because if it breaks down from these, breaks all these lows, then we're probably heading further down and waiting for another reaccumulation. That's a long video, but there was a lot of charts that I got through there on very much a quick fire. I see a lot here that I would love to go through in more detail. We've looked at TVK. There was another one here on PokerStarter. I love PokerStarter. Matic. There's so many here, but the video is long enough and we can cover these in other videos coming up. The main thing I wanted to reiterate is market top. Are we going to see a crash in crypto and crypto Bitcoin 2021? That's my theory, my argument laid out for why I think we will see some sort of crash coming up soon, but maybe we'll see Bitcoin just take off one last time. Is this the final top? I don't believe so. I'm also explaining the difference between trading and investing. I have investing that I would not be selling regardless of how much it falls. You know, we go 30-40%. Of course, if it goes a lot more than that, then that would probably show signs that the market's over. But taking into consideration taxes, which a lot of people do ask about, that might be one strategy, is just to keep the majors, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Maybe you want to go Cardano or Link, one of those things, and you just hold those and you don't worry about screwing around with different sorts of trades and having to worry about losses and profits and paying taxes. But if you do have those two different portfolios, one that's long-term investing, one that is you're trading shitcoins to make more for the long-term investing, then these are the signs that I'm seeing. If you're seeing different signs, let me know in the comments down below. This is the trading journal to have a look at, coming back into it in months to come to see where we end up. I'm not sure where this top's going to be. I'm not sure where this crash is going to be. I don't claim to know that. I have some ideas in mind, some dates set from what I've seen in the past, and I'm just working towards those. And currently, all I see is lower tops forming on many of these altcoins. So that is that's my argument here. Love to hear what you guys think. If you are interested in learning more about charts and how to marry the news together with the charts and rotating our profits through different asset classes, the link to the Investor Accelerator is down below as well. There's a discount on that, plus the price increase will be coming soon. So it's still at the regular price with the discount. So get in if you want to know more about that. Link down below. Follow me on Instagram, daily Q&As, retirement fund portfolio updates. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video up. Let's get it to 3,000 likes, and I will catch you guys at the next video. Thanks again for joining me. Until then, have more fun to get more done.